that was a really interesting exercise for me to be able to be clear in my mind what I had been going through. And I talked about how I had how seeing those candles on my cake, it's like, oh, it's not like I didn't know how old I was, but it's just like it flipped a switch in my brain. And I was telling a friend of mine that I was going to do this speech, and she said, let me share with you something. And she talked about a conference that she had been to where the fellow on stage had a tape measure. And he did this little exercise, and he said, okay, here's the whole tape measure. And, it looks great, right? You got a lot of stuff going on here. But let's just do a little exercise here. So he says, okay, so I want you, it happened to be a paper tape that he had. So he said, I'm gonna pull off the edge of the tape where I think, that's going to be my life expectancy, right? For you, Sarah, it's going to be 100.
Oh, yes. You know what? When you did that exercise, I did put the 100 on. I did every time.
Okay. So you peel that part off. And
yes.
It still looks pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But then you say, well, I'm sorry, but you've done some of these years, right? You don't have the whole tape to go on. So just go to the spot where, your birthday is this year and just rip that part off. And now take what's left. And let's take a look at it. So you hold it up, and you remember seeing you do this in
Yes,
Vancouver.
I did. Yeah.
And suddenly you realize, wow, there's not that many years after all. No matter whether you're going from 40 to 100 or 62 to 100, whatever it is, it's like that's pretty sobering. And so, the point, the goal of that is to get people to realize that, you don't have forever. I mean, we nobody wants to face up to our mortality, and we kind of just ignore it. And you think, oh yeah, I got plenty of time, but you don't always have plenty of time. Not to mention, you don't know what life has in store for you. That's one of the things I always say. You just don't know what life has in store for you tomorrow. So take advantage of what you have today. And so that speech was really to try to help others see that, all those things you've been putting off, those things that you're going to do later, when my kids are grown, when I've lost the 20 pounds, when I've finished, reorganizing my house, whatever it is, don't put those things off. You want to work on them now while you can, while you have your health, while you have, the financial resources that you have, all of these things. You don't know what the next day will bring you. And so, don't wait. Don't wait. I used to say it's never too late because I'm a very optimistic person. And I would always say, you got a problem? It's okay. It's never too late to fix that problem. But I have to say, getting to this stage in life and reading Bronnie's book, I said, I don't know if this mantra is going to be able to work for me forever. At some point it does become too late.
So when you change the mantra, remind us of what you said earlier, when you change the mantra that was important to you, how do you now look at things instead of thinking, okay, it's never too late? How do you actually get your own personal mindset around the fact of, okay, this is how I'm now going to do this? Because I have to say, and if anyone looks at our post here, you do not look like you've gone past the 6 and 4 on the cake. You're fall in the world right there and then. When you said that in the speech that you did, I'm like, huh? Oh, I think I'm tired and hallucinating. I think I need to wake up, drink some more tea, eat a bit of food, and just see what I'm looking at right now. So you do not look like the age that we talked about at all. So I believe that's from your optimism and your positivity and just how you've looked after yourself. I know that is great, a great look. You look far younger than you are, but so great that you are now kind of having your experience in life and saying to people, I'm at that number. I know I'm fooling you all because I don't look like I'm at that number, but you are. And, you've got a lot of things that you've gone through that help people. Now, when you think about, when you work with people, what can they expect to see? What type of relationship do you build with them? What can they expect to see from you as far as time, as far as events that you're doing? Tell us, when you're working with Joanne, how does that look?
Well, the most important thing is developing that trust relationship. Because the kinds of things that I help women with can be very painful and soul searching. And in order to do that, that trust has to be there. That sense that this is a safe space. I can tell her whatever I'm thinking. She won't judge me. She won't. Sometimes you tell people things and they just kind of they kind of push it off. They're like, oh, that's not as big a problem. They don't validate your feelings, and that's a terrible thing to do to someone, because it makes them doubt themselves. And heaven knows we've got enough of that going around. We don't need anybody else doing that to us. So that's the first and foremost thing that I look for when I'm beginning with a client, is to be able to develop that trust relationship so that they can put all of that out of their mind and they can just focus on the work they need to do. And right now, my primary focus is on one-to-one coaching. I think you were talking earlier about having retreats. That's certainly the kind of thing that I'm looking forward to doing, and having group programs, because I think that there's a value in women going through this experience together to realize that it's not just them. So often we think, oh, it's just me. I'm the one that's just not good enough. Everybody else has everything going. It's just me. But it's not just you. Everyone has those holes in their self-confidence, those places where things don't quite go right for them. And everyone has that nagging inner critic in their mind. And so when you realize that it's not just you, it makes a big difference in your sense of who you are and how you relate to the world. So that's another thing that I think is really important, is being able to have that group program, and I'm working on developing that.
Good. Very good.
So
good. And tell us about your co-authored book that you did.
Oh, yes, that actually we did.
Yes. I always want to talk about women rising. Any opportunity for me to say women rising, it's good.
The idea of, I tried to write my story without having to actually say how many numbers or what the numbers were on my case.
Yes, that's why I was surprised when you said it. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah, because what woman in their right mind wants to publish to the world how old they are, especially when you're kind of up in this, in the latter stages of your tape measure, if you will.
Yes.
But I kept coming back to, I have to say it, right? How can I talk about facing up to your fears and, presenting to the world who you really are if I can't talk about how old I am?
Yes. So if you haven't got the golden number in mind, then, people want to be, connecting with you and seeing that authenticity behind you and going, okay. And again, like I say, it's okay for you to say those numbers, because you're fooling us all on the quiet. So it's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, you've been the most amazing guest for me today, Joanne. I have to say, it's been interesting to listen to your story, and I hope that people that are listening can really dig in and have a little realistic chat with themselves about where they're at. I think that's what you've done today, is you've got people thinking about, okay, it's okay to have maybe this whole image of what the perfect life is, but there's little things on the side where you go, okay, I really would like to do this. I'd really like to do that. It isn't too late to do that. I need to take action to do it now. Not everybody's maybe going to agree with it, but that's okay, because we're on our own journey as well, where we have to be able to decide that. So I hope that you've really, really opened up some minds today on the type of thing that people are capable of, with that support system behind them. Getting someone to work with them one-on-one if that's what they need, to understand where they're going, because a lot of times our immediate family and our close friends don't understand where we're going. We do need to step out of that kind of friendship circle and go into a coaching environment instead, where someone can dig in and go, okay, I understand what you're saying. Tell me that again. And people need to be heard. A lot of people say to me, well, I'm not heard, even within my own house. I'm doing everything and still I'm not heard. But yet I'm the main person in my house. So sometimes, and also from a coaching point of view, people don't want to be judged. Like, there's such a non-judgment mentality when you are coaching people, because you're not there to judge, you're there to listen and find a solution. And I know when people have said to me before, they tell me the most deep thing about their self, and I say, okay, well, thank you for telling me that. And they say, huh? What do you think to that? Like, what do you mean you're not? I'd say, well, don't you think I should have done this? Like I said, no, this has happened. We've done this. So now we need to know what we're going to do with it. How is this going to affect us moving forward? But don't you think and they want that, they think I'm going to judge that. And I say, no, we're good. Thank you for telling me that. And they sometimes say, I've never told anybody that before. I have such shame in that. And I always put a little jest into it and say, oh, well, now it's off your chest, isn't it? Now it's gone. And that brings a little lighthearted to the conversation where they go, it is off my chest. And I say, I've got the vault on top of my head. It's gone in there and it's staying in there. So it doesn't mean it needs to go on to their family. But I do a little thing with my hand and pretend it's gone into a vault and say, okay, it's in there and it's staying in there. So there's that trust factor when coaching people as well, where people need that trust, they need that non-judgment, and they need to be able to talk and be heard. And I think what you've really told us today is that's the type of coach that you are, because you've been through different things. And I think you're not finished yet. I feel like you're on the 100-year plan too. And you've got all these, you've got all of these things
I
that
take inspiration from you, Sarah.
Good. I'm glad. I'm trying to do that. I am trying to get the whole world to think about longevity and, staying for a long time. We've got a lot of things to do. I am so keen to meet my great-grandchildren. I'm going to make sure that I stay around. And when some people have said to me before, who wants to live till 100 years old? And I said, I do. I don't want to miss a thing. Look at the things that are already here in 45 years of my life. What else is coming? And it's not all bad that's coming. People that have a negative mindset say, oh, this is coming and this is coming. Yeah. But if you've established a positive mindset like I have, I think wonderful things are coming. And when people say, well, you've got to your 100th year, how does that look? And I said, well, I have all my great-grandchildren around me and I go sit down somewhere quietly in my nice leather chair and they say, Nana, you're 100. I say, oh, could be today. Let's sit down. And they'll all be there. All my family will be there, the great-grandchildren. And they'll say, Nana, one more thing before you go. And I go, oh, yeah, any more wisdom than anybody needs? Yeah, got it? Okay, right, feet up, lay back. I'm 100 and I'm out. So that's my little fantasy manifestation that I do about how my 100th year looks with everyone around me. And you've had an impact on people and they walk away into their lives remembering what their older generation taught them, showed them. Yeah. And that's what I would really hope from my family coming behind me, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren. I hope they say, you know what, Nana Sarah had something to say. And my goodness, couldn't she talk a lot? It's a little quiet around here now she's gone. It's sure quiet around here without Nana in her high heels. They might be 2 inches by the time I'm 98, but I'll still be clipping around in my high heels and
I'm sure you will.
Scantily putting on my red lipstick if it can. My hands aren't shaking, but I'll do that. So I want to thank you for being an amazing guest. I knew that you would be. I was very excited when you were able to come on. I know people listening today will take something with them from this, and I can't thank you enough for being a guest. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I've so totally enjoyed talking with you, but then, of course, I always do.
We do, don't we? We said it would be a struggle for us to be on the air for an hour. We'd probably talk for 2 hours instead. So keeping you with the time. Okay, thank you, Joanne. I'm just going to let all the listeners know that if you want to re-listen to this show, if you download iHeartRadio, then you can go on to Create a Life You Love with Sarah Shakespeare, and Joanne's episode will be downloaded onto that immediately after this show. And you can go over all of my other episodes that I've done in the last few months as well, where all the guests are helping you create a life that you love. We will also be reposting this later onto Joanne's Facebook page, onto my Facebook page, where you can listen to the replay, and then you can always go back to the Facebook pages and look for that, as well as going on to iHeartRadio. So if you have got some points that you weren't quite paying attention to it, throughout the show, you can go back with your notebook and go over all the points that should help you. So Joanne, I want to thank you so much for being on the air with me today, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, Sarah, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
So I once again had an amazing guest on that's helping you create a life that you love. I'm going to wrap up the show in a few minutes, and I'd just like to say that I have a YouTube channel that's just come out 2 weeks ago, and if you follow me on Facebook, you know that I do 2-minute videos quite a lot. So I've got 132 videos on my YouTube channel that you can subscribe to Sarah Shakespeare, and you can just watch my random videos all day. I always have something to say. I hope it's of interest. Some of the videos are just day-to-day things that I've been doing, but if you're keen to kind of follow the things that I've got to say and, you know, you need some advice